Okay, here we are. I'm gonna do a video from home, and I'm gonna try to clarify a few things, and I'm gonna read some comments and have a little bit of a discussion about that because my last video was I, there was a few misconceptions in there, and some people had thought that I pled to a lesser charge, and that's not the case. I just pled an Alfred plea to the original charge, which is it's basically a no contest plea. I can still have it overturned. It's not like entering a guilty plea. But there were some reasons why I did that. I explained then that the prosecutor had threatened me, and I probably didn't make it very clear in the video, but there was a team of prosecutors, and these guys had threatened that if I didn't plea that day, if I had decided to take it to trial, they were going to rebook me, which meant rearresting me, and charge me with obstruction. And I just don't need to do that. It's just too much, and so I didn't do it. And at the time, financially things weren't going so well. I mean, that part of the year is just kind of screwed. So I just didn't do it. And that's where we are with that. But I've been getting a lot of comments. This video has been kind of blowing up, and I don't know why. It's been here for months, but I certainly didn't expect it to start blowing up like the last couple of weeks. But I feel like since I have a lot of new comments and a lot of new people, I owe you some activity, I guess, maybe. I don't know, but yeah. I mean, I've had a lot of positive comments. I mean, there's a few people that are just right here in my corner and whatnot, and I really do appreciate that. Believe me, I do, because sometimes I feel like I'm all alone out here. I mean, I got all kinds of people telling me how stupid I am and all that, and I don't know, maybe I am. Like I said, my last video, maybe I am stupid. I doubt. I don't think so, but I'm not a genius. I'm not the smartest person in the world. But my problem is that I'm trying to stand up for my rights and stand up for what's right and what's wrong. And the last time I checked, the Constitution didn't include everyone except truck drivers. And something a lot of people don't understand is that this industry has been around since before the Constitution. It's been around for thousands of years. Not always in trucking, but it was carters, ocean going, cargo transportation, maritime law, stuff like that. It was, Teamsters. I mean, that's why the truckers union is called Teamsters Union, because mule teams and whatnot. So I mean, these things have been around forever. This is 18-wheeler over the road trucks. It's just a progression of that. So it's not a valid argument to say that the founders didn't have any idea of, they obviously didn't know what was coming around the corner, but at the same time they did, it's not like they weren't aware that, interstate commerce existed. It's not like they weren't aware that the transportation of goods, raw materials and finished products and whatnot was not, the lifeblood of an economy. They understood that very well, believe me. So, if they were going to write the Constitution and write people like me out of it, they could have done that, but they didn't do that. The Constitution, the Bill of Rights, everything says the people, the people, the people, the people. So, and the Bill of Rights is not a right that's given to me from the government. The Bill of Rights is an enumerated list of things that the government can't do to me because I have a natural right from God. There's nothing you can do to take that away from me. But we've gotten to a point in our society where we don't care. We don't care about anybody's rights. We just take them away willfully. We act like nobody's entitled to them. And I'm having comments on here saying basically that once you engage in commerce, you don't have any rights. But that's ridiculous, because if that was the case, then we would have a situation where if you went into 7-Eleven to buy a stick of gum, you would end up being you're engaged in commerce at that point, and a cop could just come and snatch you up right then and there and start looking through your bags, looking through your wallet, searching your car and whatnot, because you're engaged in commerce. You're buying gas, buying gum, beer, whatever. It doesn't matter what it is. It's still commerce. I mean, the vast majority of us are engaged in commerce all the time. Throughout, as long as we're awake, we're engaged in commerce in one way or another. So that's an invalid argument. I didn't sign my rights away to get my license. The government can't compel you to waive your rights for anything. And when you're sitting there saying that, I don't have, that I willfully gave them up, and if I didn't want, if I didn't like that, then I shouldn't have done this job or whatever. I understand that, but we have an issue where people who were caught on foreign battlefields, and that are sitting in Guantanamo Bay or were sitting in Guantanamo Bay, were given rights. Prisoners in prisons are given rights. If I was cutting somebody's fucking head off, I'd still have those rights. I'd still have the 4th and 5th and 6th Amendment rights. But for some reason, whenever I get into a truck, somehow they disappear. And I don't understand that. I don't understand how anybody can make that, how anybody can justify that in their fucking minds. To me, it is the most ridiculous basis of it's just the most ridiculous argument ever to say, to say that, because I drive a truck for a living, I have no rights. An airline pilot still has rights. If you're working at McDonald's, you're engaged in commerce. They can't just come busting up in there and start searching you. You still have the 4th Amendment. You don't have to answer their questions. You still have the 5th Amendment. Somehow, I don't have that. I don't know why. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I'm sorry if it offends some of you. I mean, some people have gotten really upset. But, that's your problem. I'm sorry. I'm not a steering wheel holder. I'm not a rookie. I'm not an idiot. I'm not a noob. I'm not, a lot of the things that people have been calling me, and, I didn't always do this, but this isn't the first time. That video was not the first time, this video in particular was not the first time that I did it. It's the last time I've done it, but it's also the last time I've been pulled into a weigh station for an inspection, so I can't say that I wouldn't do it again. I probably won't do it that way in Kentucky again, but who knows? Maybe I will. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll just, throw caution to the wind and say, fucking do it. Go to jail again. I won't do it if I got my dog in the truck. I mean, that's something that, and that's some people have been saying that I showed fear. And yeah, to a certain extent. I mean, after that guy put handcuffs on me and everything, he was walking me away, yeah, I was terrified. I mean, I'm not going to lie, because I didn't know what was going to happen to my dog. I'm in a foreign, state. I'm in a foreign state dealing with a cop who's out of control. I mean, in my opinion, this guy's out of control. I mean, if you look at the time between when I started talking to him and when he put handcuffs on me, I don't know if you know exactly when it was, but when he put handcuffs on me, it's right about when I said, but I don't have to, and he's put handcuffs on me. It's like, it's less than like a minute and a half. Now, we've all seen videos on here with auditors and, these fuck the police types on YouTube who are, having a back and forth with the police and whatnot, and it'll go on and on and on and on for a long time. And a cop will call a supervisor, he'll call, he'll call backup, all kinds of stuff. This guy didn't do any of that, man. I mean, I was literally, I was just blown away by how, number one, how aggressive he was, and also about how quick everything was. I mean, it was so fast. And I'm trying to have a conversation with him. Some people are asking me why I didn't ask for this or that. I think somebody asked me why I didn't ask for, here we go. There's one right here. Oh shit, I didn't mean to reply. I was wanting to read more. So first off, you never refused inspection. Secondly, you never required compensation for assisting with inspections. Thirdly, you have no proper training in assisting officers for inspections. I don't know why the fuck I did that, but anyway, so it's this one right here. And he said, you never did ask the officer to pay you to help him. Why didn't you ask? Then you could have said in return that you're refusing to compensate me for my services, officer. I'm not your slave. And that's true. That is absolutely true. I agree with this. Mike Manassas. That's or I don't know if it's Mike. You're from Manassas or whatever. Anyway, I agree. Problem is that everything was happening so fast, man. I just honestly did not have. He kept changing directions. He was playing that verbal judo with me, and what it boiled down to was that I do believe that he planned to arrest me before he even walked outside the building. And that's another thing a lot of people don't understand is some people are saying that I was refusing the inspection. I didn't refuse the inspection. It's very clear on the video that I told them they can inspect whatever they wanted. I didn't refuse an inspection. I don't have a problem with inspections if they're done with probable cause or reasonable suspicion. I do have a problem with random inspections, but I was seriously on this day. I was trying to choose my battles and pick a small battle to fight, and then snowball it from there. I wasn't trying to fight the whole war in one shot. And another thing is, I was about to comply with this guy. He was really, I was probably going to comply with him within the next 10 to 15 seconds. What I really wanted him to say that day was that I don't have any rights. That's really all I was after. I wanted him to tell me I don't have any rights, and that what I was going to have to do was he was going to arrest me. And I didn't want to get arrested. I just, honest to God, did not want to get arrested because my dog is very important to me. I mean, she's my companion. And when he put the handcuffs on me and starts walking me, the only thing I'm thinking is, she's going to go to the pound. I don't live in Kentucky. I don't know how the hell I'm going to get her out of the pound. I don't know what's going to happen to her. That shit was paramount in my mind. And that's, you heard what I said to him, and that's absolutely what was on my mind. I don't give a fuck if he arrested me. That's not the first fucking time I've dealt with cops like that. I don't care. You can arrest me. Being arrested just gives me the chance to go to court and possibly, make you look stupid. Now, typically, when I go to traffic court and whatnot, I mean, I've done it plenty of times, gone to traffic court and won. I'm not a moron, okay? I don't sit there and just, roll over for these people. But this guy was out of control that day. I go to the jail. They held me for a while, released me on my own recognizance, whatever, and then we went to court. And the first time in court, the arraignment, the prosecutor got pissed at me because he was arguing with me, and I wouldn't let him win the argument. And when and when you won't let them win the argument and bully you into saying, okay, what do you want me to do? They get really pissed, and that's what happened. That guy got pissed off. It's like, all right, you can talk to the judge. I'm like, okay, fine, I'll talk to the judge. And I went and pled not guilty. Come back again, same fucking thing happens. This time there's a team of attorneys, of prosecutors, and Sergeant Miller and the way station dummy behind me, sitting next to him right behind me. And that guy, like I said, the prosecutor, the lead prosecutor, the one I was talking to the most, he watched the video and whatnot, and he's telling me that, it's obstruction. I'm like, it's not obstruction. It's there's no way in hell. He's saying that because I locked the door, then that meant that I wasn't going to let him do the inspection and all of that shit. I'm like, well, A, you can't prove that. You can't, because they never asked me to unlock the fucking door. You can't. There's no. You can't prove my intent, and I'm sure as hell not going to, tell you, oh, I wasn't going to unlock the door for him. I'm not stupid. So there's no way they can prove that. So it's a ridiculous fucking, assumption. And I knew what it was. I knew it was a tactic to get me to surrender. But what was real was that they were going to arrest me again and rebook me on that charge and prosecute me on that charge. I still believe that that's what they would have done. And you can argue with me. I mean, I know it's very difficult to elevate a charge, with trial and whatnot, but I do believe that because these guys were there to win. They weren't there to, they weren't there. They weren't going to do anything for me. So anyway, that was the way that went. But I got these comments, and it's like some of these guys are really. I mean, it's John Jay's like, there's nothing can do about it. Well, unfortunately, they did do about it. But here we go. Big Duke likes to, chime in and whatnot. And Big Duke's right. He's absolutely right in certain respects. He's you know, he's saying that there's no reason to put anybody in handcuffs. There's no reason to do it, but he would just put you out of service. Now, I'd have to disagree with that because, like, look, you need evidence. You really do. If you start making assertions or accusations about somebody and placing their service out of the vehicle out of service without evidence, then what you're doing is you're opening yourself up with a whole lot of shit that you don't want. I mean, that's just really not smart. First of all, I'm going to assume, as a CVSA inspector, that's what he says he is. So, a CVSA inspector is not a police officer, most likely. I mean, I don't know what jurisdiction he works in, but I don't think he's a police officer. Like that guy at the Kentucky way station, the first one I dealt with was not a police officer. I told him, when he pulled me around and into the back, he wanted to look at my logs. I let him see my iPad that I got mounted on the dash, and he could see my logs. And he wanted me to give him the iPad. I'm like, no, I'll email him to you, but I'm not going to give you my device. And then he's like, all right, well, I need you to turn work the lights, all that stuff. I'm like, all right, well, at this point, I'm just going to go ahead and step out, and you can do the inspection yourself, but I'm not going to help you do that. And that's when he's like, well, I'll hold on, and he went and got Sergeant Miller. So I'm going to assume that Big Duke here is in the same capacity. He's just an inspector. He's not actually a police officer. But he is right. There's really there's no reason to put somebody in handcuffs and elevate it to that, escalate it to that point. But I do disagree with him on this idea of placing somebody out of service. He's saying that basically if he says for the turn signal to come on and they don't come on, he's going to mark it as a violation. Well, you need to have some sort of evidence that there's a violation. I mean, you need to be able to, as an inspector, if you're going to accuse somebody of anything, I mean, because CSA is a real thing. I mean, it's like those points go against us, and if you put points on somebody's record, and it gets them fired or keeps them from getting another job or something like that, hurts their company's reputation, things of that nature, you need to be able to back it up. At the very least, you need to be able to go up there into the cab and verify that turn signal switch is on in that position, and those turn signals aren't coming on. That's your job. That's not mine. And if you don't do that, and you sit there and you mark something on your inspection form, saying that that's a violation, you're opening yourself up for a lot of problems, and putting somebody out of service because they don't do that for you. That's it's no different than if than that officer arresting me. But what you're basically doing is you're using your ability to be able to screw somebody else over. I don't think it's legal, but either way, you're using your ability to, as a DOT inspector, to put somebody out of service to affect their lives, so they can't make money, so they can't do their job, so they can't do what they're supposed to do, because they didn't do what you wanted them to do, and that's crime. Okay, that's a crime. At that point, you're interfering with interstate commerce. You are denying this man liberties or woman liberties. You are committing a crime. You're also libel, slander. I mean, there's a whole host of things that can come back with that. It's just be honest here. It's not an adversarial relationship here. I mean, we're all, it is an adversarial relationship, but it should not be. Okay? If you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, then you don't need my help. Okay? You shouldn't want my help. Nobody should want the driver to do their job for them. That's your job. The idea that that we should help you incriminate ourselves is it's just ludicrous. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And if that's what you want out of people, then you're barking up the wrong tree. And I hope more truck drivers wake up to this. We did not give up our rights. We did not give up our rights, no matter what. And any regulations, any FMCSA regulation, first of all, they're not laws; they're regulations. It's bullshit. The words aren't worth the air that they fucking that they pass by. They're just not they're not anything. They're just fucking regulations. Regulations do not trump my damn constitutional rights. Nothing trumps my constitutional rights. Period. I don't give a shit what it is. Interstate commerce is not an excuse to deprive someone of their rights. Look it up. He's talking about Article 1, Section 8. It does not nullify those rights. Those things that are enumerated in the Bill of Rights are still there, period. I don't give a shit what else is on there. Yes, the government, the federal government has the power to regulate, interstate commerce. That is not the power that does not give you carte blanche to be able to stop someone and detain them without a legal, reasonable suspicion that they're engaged in some sort of criminal activity or anything at least unsafe. You stop somebody without any reasonable suspicion, then you're breaking the law. You're violating that person's rights, and the crime for that is actually it carries the death penalty. So I mean, it's probably never going to happen, but that's just what it is. So you really need to be careful what you're saying. I mean, yeah, you can do that, but man, I'm gonna tell you something, dude. That would seriously come back to you. And you don't have qualified immunity. If you're not a police officer, you don't have qualified immunity. You could be arrested far easier than Sergeant Dildo Miller. So, I think about that. And sue him till he can't even get a job as a speed bump. I thought it was kind of funny. So we're updating right now. I'm just letting you know what's going on. I have not filed any lawsuits. I think tomorrow I'm going to talk with the FBI. I will update it. If I can record that, that conversation, I will. I don't know. First Amendment says I can, but, I'm not an auditor, so honest to God, I don't really, I've had enough trouble right now, and I'm not sure if I want to go into an FBI building and try to record a conversation with an FBI agent in their building, and it just seems like I don't know. If they'll let me, I will. Let's see. Donald D. He doesn't look like a duck, but anyway, he had a but so then people get tough in the comments and everything, and Big Duke's back again. he's always there. But it's that's you just really need to think about certain things that you're doing when you're doing these, when you're making these bold statements and whatnot. Like you're going to put your boot on who? I mean, if you just because you can doesn't mean you should, okay? And just because you can doesn't mean that it's legal, doesn't mean that you're going to get away with it. I don't go around telling people what to do, forcing people to do my bidding or whatever. I drive my truck, I do my thing, I, mind my business. So it's just, why can't we all just get along and be respectful of each other? I was not being disrespectful of that cop when I was dealing with him in Kentucky. That man was being disrespectful of me, and the disrespect comes from, thinking that he has a right to arrest someone for something that's not even a crime. It's not a crime. There's no anything, So somebody asked me something about the ACLU. I sent a long email to the Kentucky ACLU. I sent them a link to the video here. I don't know if they watched it or not, but they never called me back. They never contacted me back, which I wasn't really expecting them to. I mean, because they, who the hell are they? I mean, they're not in my corner. They never have been. I mean, they're too busy taking away rights to, to try to fight for somebody's rights being violated. And then, there used to be an app. Somebody's saying something like this. There should be an app where you instantly go live with the lawyers, so you can't be shanghaied by the law. That would be great. That's actually a good business if somebody wanted to start that up. I mean, that's actually really good. But there used to be this app called Bamboozer. I think it got shut down. It used to be, instant live stream. They couldn't crack it and all that stuff to where you could go in there and upload. And so if the cops grabbed your phone or whatever, they couldn't get into it and crack it and all that. And I think it got shut down somehow. But that's the jackboot of the government again. Yeah, I don't remember reading anything either. I keep seeing a lot of people saying that it's part of the agreement to get your license. I never agreed to shit to get my license. The only thing I agreed to when I got my license is that I'd pay the fucking money for the license. I didn't agree to any damn thing else. I didn't even agree to driving properly on the roads if that's the way it is. I didn't agree that I wouldn't drive 100 miles an hour down the road. I don't. See, this is another thing I don't act like an asshole. I don't get pulled into the way station a whole lot. I've throughout 19 years of driving now, I've been DOT inspected, like a level 1 inspection, 5-6 times, maybe. I've had a few level 3s, nothing major. It's never been a problem. Now I say I've been pulled in for an inspection 5 or 6 times. I've only done 2, I think. I don't, I started refusing and to cooperate with inspections back in, I forget when it was, but it was the first time I ever had a dealing with CSA. And at first, the only thing I would do is I'd lock my cab. I just wouldn't let the truck, the cop into my cab. And that was in Maryland the first time I did that over on 68. The guy was like, he's like, well, I can get up there and measure your bunk if you want to. I'm like, it's whatever if you say so, but do what you want. But yeah, it would be nice if you could get hooked up with an attorney and whatnot. I mean, there's a legal network for truckers, which is garbage. I wouldn't waste my money on it. I think it's like TVN, Truckers, TVC, Truckers Voice in Court or something like that. It's if you like the idea of anytime you get a ticket, a lawyer goes in there and throws you on the mercy of the court, then go right ahead. But that is not a defense. That's just a, thank you, sir. May I please have another fucking situation? And I'm sorry, I'm not going to go for that. How about some info where this occurred? Officer's name, I had somebody replied to him, but it was the southbound way station on US 41, Henderson, Kentucky, just south of Evansville, Indiana. Man's name is Sergeant Dill Miller. So there's that. And then Farrell Wall says you have to assist them. Cops saying we're going to search the vehicle. So there's on another video, all this over your civil liberties. Just get the fuck out of the industry. You give the rest of us a bad name. You probably give yourself a bad name. I bet you drive for Swift. Yeah, fuck it, maybe you don't. Maybe you're just a super trucker. You probably pull a flatbed. And then in that case, you should kick your own ass. But see, I'm not trying to give everybody a bad name. This kind of stuff, it kind of bothers me. It's like, you don't understand. I'm trying to make sure that the world views us as people. I don't know if you've realized over the last, 5-10 years or so that the number of no truck signs have popped up everywhere. I mean, you can't go anywhere as a truck driver. They don't want you anywhere. They got your hands in your fucking pockets everywhere you go. I mean, not Kentucky, I'm sorry, West Virginia just recently raised their toll rates on 77, and it's doubled now. It's absolutely doubled. And 77 or 79, I can't remember. 64 is one I take all the time. I'm tired. Anyway, but they've doubled their tolls. I mean, like overnight, and it went from what, 675 to 1350 for trucks. So you're gonna pay $27 to go through West Virginia if you go from east to west, and you go up through that damn gorge, and that's ridiculous. That road's not worth paying for at all. But when the tolls were fairly low, it was reasonable. But now it's just absolutely, it's ridiculous. And then they got their hand in my pocket constantly, always trying to take and take and take, but they're not, they're not seeing us as people. They're seeing us as a cash cow. And then they're going out of their way to try to screw us, and like CSA, it's a bad idea, because what happens is that you pull into a way station, and what they're doing is they're giving you warnings, and the warnings go on your CSA just the same as if it was an actual violation. So, I mean, or an actual ticket. So you have no fucking recourse. The only thing you have to do is that data queue, which is garbage. I mean, the fact is, first of all, if you're a company driver, you have to get data queue to go, and they have to. I mean, your company has to challenge the validity of the claim with you, and then data queue has like a hearing. It's not a legal hearing. There's no legal standard. It's basically whatever the hell. If you can convince them of your innocence, which that's not how the law works in this country. I do not have to convince anyone of my innocence. You have to prove my guilt, which is the same thing I was talking about with Big D or whatever his name was, Big Duke. You have to prove it's an evidence-based legal system. You have to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that what I did was, or I am guilty of what you have accused me of, with evidence, with facts, not your opinion, not a bunch of hearsay, not because she said, not, but facts, things that you can point to and say, this is what happened. I have video, I have pictures, I have this evidence, a bullet casing or whatever. You have to prove whatever the hell the person did with facts. Just because people let us they let you get away with this kind of stuff in this country does not mean that it's right. Does not mean that it won't one day catch up to you. The kind of bullying and everything. I mean, this is why this video has gotten a lot of attention lately. This is why a lot of these videos, like the First Amendment audit videos, are so popular. Because people are getting sick and tired of being fucked with by the cops on a regular basis, and for no goddamn reason other than they're hanging out. Or, I mean, how many times have you seen a group of teenagers in the parking lot, like at Walmart or something like that, and the cops come run them the fuck off? Like, what the fuck are they doing? They're just hanging out. There's nothing wrong with that. Mind your own fucking business. Leave people alone. If they're not committing crimes, leave them the fuck alone. It's that simple. Don't you remember when you were a teenager? Where the hell did you want to go? I'd rather have them hanging out at fucking Walmart than drag racing up and down the damn road. But you want to be a bunch of fucking dicks about it and say, oh, you don't like people hanging out at Walmart. Fuck you. People have the right to freely assemble. People have the right to do what the fuck they want to do as long as they're not bothering anybody else. And I don't mean hurting their feelings. I mean actually committing crimes against the other people. And no, I'm not advocating for somebody to come hanging out in my fucking front yard. But you have to understand, like Walmart is a perfect example. It's a public area. It's open to the public. So Walmart doesn't have the right to stop people from coming in and going to shop, going shopping the way the way I could, in my own personal property, stop people from coming into my, onto my property, because it's a publicly operated business. Yes, they can trespass people, and really they don't need much of a reason to trespass people, but instead of a police officer riding by and seeing a group of kids hanging out at a Walmart parking lot and running them off, Wait till somebody at that Walmart calls and says, hey, these kids are doing this and this and this. There's some sort of actual legitimate complaint about them doing something. It's not fair to be treated as if we're fucking sheep and cattle in this country. It's not right. And it's not going to stop in the trucking industry. You think it'll stop here? It won't. It'll continue on. Just like NASCAR is a test bed for automotive advancements and whatnot, the trucking industry is a test bed for government tyranny. I promise you. You look at IFTA. IFTA's a prime example of that. We pay IFTA. I have to pay for every goddamn mile I drive up and down the road. Every mile I drive, I have to pay for. And now because states are losing out on fuel taxes and whatnot because of more fuel-efficient vehicles and things like Teslas and whatnot, they're not getting the fuel taxes. Now they're wanting to go to a mileage-based tax for fucking cars now. And, and where do you think they got the data on how to do that? They got it from us. So, you're welcome, America. Don't believe me. See what happens. If you don't stand up for your rights, they will be taken from you. I promise you that. It's been happening for hundreds of years now. So I don't really, this is just, I don't understand why the hell there's so much pushback sometimes. These people are every long hauler must, I guess you meant to say must know by now you cannot interfere with law enforcement's ability to raise cash by ticketing. Okay. Unable to contest, you will comply and pay any and all fines that can be dreamed up at every checkpoint. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly true. I like that. Welcome to the police state. That's right, John Doe. This driver does not have to assist on this. Right. Exactly. There's a lot of Joes around here. A lot of John Does, and that's two different John Does, or if that's the same one, I don't know. Got a lawyer, decent lawsuit. No, I don't have a lawyer. Why are you arguing with the cop after your arrest? Shut the fuck up and simply say lawyer. You have been arrested for exercising your rights, so simply exercise another. Remain silent and ask for a lawyer. Well, that's the one I got arrested for, fuck dummy. I got arrested for invoking the Fifth Amendment right, which is your right to remain silent. And, the silent treatment would have gotten it worse. And I wasn't arguing with the cop after he put it, I was, well, a little bit, but I was trying to, honest to God, I thought he put the handcuffs on me thinking that he was going to, scare me into compliance. This is what the cops do. They try to bully you into compliance and make you do what they want to do, and they'll lie to you. And honestly, when he told me I was going to go to jail to begin with, I thought he was fucking lying. Because there's no way in hell that, anything I did there at that way station could be construed as a crime. And this motherfucker has no jurisdiction to fucking arrest me on a civil infraction. But that's exactly what he did. And I couldn't fucking believe it. I called the Kentucky State Police, and I made complaints about him and whatnot. And by the way, he smoked in the goddamn car when he's transporting me to the jail. So I did make a complaint about that. And I got a call back from his captain saying that, that had been taken care of, which probably didn't mean anything. That's neither here nor there. But either way, yeah, when I talked to his captain, he told me that that's an arrestable offense. I'm like, well, the problem is I didn't refuse inspection, and the statute he cited me with has nothing to do with it. It just, I read the statute. It's like, it basically gives them, it gives them the ability to adopt FMCSA guidelines or regulations, and gives them the ability to inspect trucks, but it doesn't say how they're going to inspect trucks. It doesn't say anything about the driver. It has no mention in there whatsoever about the driver's responsibilities, driver's rights, the driver's, what shall do, shall not do, may do, anything like that. There's nothing in there about the individual at all. It's all about the state's ability to be able to inspect trucks. You know, and I don't argue that. You can inspect trucks if you want to. I don't give a fuck. But, you know, I'm not going to help you do it. And I would ask that you have, you know, probable cause to pull me in, a reasonable suspicion to pull me in. You know, I would ask that. I mean, I think that's, you know, I think that's that's reasonable to ask that that you have reasonable suspicion before you pull somebody in. And that's another thing. People are acting like I didn't do a pre-trip, like I don't, my truck was a piece of shit or something like that. No, everything was working. There was absolutely zero violations found on my truck. None. I have, my CSA is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I have no record. You know, they just wanted to make money off me, and he wanted to fuck me. He wanted to piss me off and make my life hard because I dared say no to him. So let's see, what does this guy say? First of all, CDL drivers are required to, what time is it? Damn, it's 40 minutes already? CDL drivers are required to submit to all manner of things that no other drivers are. We're federally, state, and locally controlled at times. We're also subjected to rules at docks, where we are subjected to searches as well. We're expected to comply, even if it's questionable constitutionally. Well, to a certain extent, but that's because we don't stick up for ourselves, and we don't act like we're, we bend over and take it because we ain't got time to be fucking around with stuff. And I understand that. Believe me, I've been doing this for a long time. I don't have time to be fucking around with it, but sometimes you have to when they're pouncing on me. And there was another. You already gave up your rights when you allowed these tyrants to limit the hours you work each day, i.e. the amount of money you can make. Well, I didn't have a choice in that, and it's one of those battles that need to be fought, but I don't have the power to overturn that one, and I don't feel like that's something that I will lose my job for, because they're on my ass constantly about, the stupidest fucking things with the logbook and whatnot. I mean, I've never had a log violation, but, my company is just rabid about it. Like they want to, and they'll send me messages all the time, like, sign your bills. Like, man, it's like, fuck you, I just woke up, fucking, they're always like, so there's no way they're gonna let that go along. I could not outrun my log and get away with it for, at all, not even for one day. So there's battles to fight, and there's battles that, I just can't win. And why fight a battle that you can't win? There's better ways to fight that one. But I do agree. I don't think, personally, on my thoughts on the hours of service, they're fine basically, but I do think the 14-hour clock should be pushed out to 16, and the 30-minute break provision should go away, and the 70-hour rule should go away. Get rid of those three things, or you do those three things, and I think the hours of service will be fine. There's no reason why I should be limited to 70 hours in a week. I mean, fuck you. If I can drive 11 hours a day, that's 77 hours a week. I mean, why the fuck can't I just do that? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Why make me sit somewhere 200, 300 miles away from home because I ran out of fucking hours? Because last Sunday I had to blow out my hours to get somewhere. I mean, that's dumb. So, yeah, I don't appreciate that. I wouldn't help the cop do a goddamn thing. Well, that was my exact opinion, but and Joey Flaw, I agree. I'm no free work, motherfucker. I mean, I said that in my second video. I'm not a slave, and I do believe that they violated my 13th Amendment protections there by trying to coerce me into acting as his slave. Acting as a slave. So whatever. Diesel tax. Yeah, exactly. Imagine how bad it's going to get. Think about it. Wonder if he still drives a truck. Yes, I do still drive a truck. I own 3 trucks. It's my fucking company. Well, I'm leased onto a company, but, I own a company. Yeah. This didn't fucking do anything to me other than cost me about $200 in court and cost me a day of whatever. I wasn't loaded that day anyway. It's no big deal. I mean, it really, in the grand scheme of things, it's not that big a deal. But it's principle. The principle is that this fucking asshole arrested me for invoking my rights, and that's no different than if I was down in front of the police station recording with a video camera, and they arrested me for videotaping. That's fuck you. I have the right to do it. Black Smoke Matters, a strike April 12th. I've never heard about it, but I'll shut down. If people are willing to shut down, I will absolutely shut down. And I'll force my drivers to shut down too. I will. You know, right now. I'm at home anyway. I fucking shut down for a whole week. Either way, self-incrimination. Kentucky Revised Statute, yeah. And somebody actually posted it here. Universal citation. What is this? This universal citation comes on media neutral or vendor neutral citation. Yeah, well, what it boiled down to was, they never showed me, this is what I was charged with, 281-600, and whatever, fuck you, it's a universal citation, but it's a citation, not a fucking crime. Nice concrete. Well, fuck you. I didn't want to. That's something I had to explain in one of my videos. That when I had just, what I did was I was on the phone when I got pulled in there. I was on the phone with my friend Bobby, and I was on that phone that I used to record. And what I did was I hung up with him, called him on my other phone, my backup phone, and I had just gotten the phone ready to record, and I was about to, I was getting the camera thing out and everything, and here he comes. So I ended up grabbing the phone, the goddamn screen's turned the wrong way. I hate vertical filming and whatnot, but I mean, it's just something I couldn't help it. But the screen's turned the wrong way, and then I, because of the way he was acting, I did not want to put the camera up in his face. I was trying to be as decent as possible. I really was. I wasn't trying to be a fucking dick. I mean, it's a good thing he didn't, Bow is not a fucking truck driver. He'd have fucking, he probably would have fought him. Yeah, Chihuahua syndrome. That dude was really small and whatnot. Yeah, I wish people would stick together, but there's so many truck drivers here that 38-year CDL driver. When DOT inspect my rig, I yes, the guy from beginning to end. I assist in every way to make my delivery. Anything that slows the process down makes for unnecessary timelines. Wise up, driver. DOT is federal. You're an ass. Well, yeah, okay. I'm an ass. Whoop-de-doo. You're actually, because you don't stand up for yourself and you let somebody else rape you, you're going to sit there and tell me I'm an ass. So that's the kind of thing that bugs me, that we have DOT. Okay. Only good cops are dead cops. I wish people stopped doing that. I'm not trying to have this, I'm not one of those. I love this video is listed under gaming. Yeah, it's because I uploaded it from my phone, and if you watch my channel, pretty much all I do is play fucking video games, for the last 12 years or whatever, and it just automatically took it to gaming out. And I've been trying, I just got home, so now I can use my computer. I can change it. But I was trying to change it while I was on the road, but it wouldn't let me do that. So game over when the cuffs go on. I wonder how the pig hauling trucks get in this kind of random inspection. I wonder how often pig hauling they never do. They don't. But that's another thing. FedEx, UPS, those LTL dudes, pig haulers, bull haulers, whatever, they don't get inspected. I'll tell you who gets fucked with the most: flatbedders. Flatbedders get fucked with all the time by the DOT, and it's usually about load securement. And look, safety is a very important thing on the road. We're all supposed to be safe, but let me be safe. Let me have, or I'm going to be safe. I don't want to hurt myself. I don't want to do anything to hurt myself, so I'm going to be safe. Let me do my thing. If you see something wrong, stop me. That's all. Just stop me if you see something wrong. Maybe the inspector does not know how to operate the truck he's inspecting. Of course he does. He just doesn't want to. When you get a CDL car license, you sign a waiver, and if bothered to read, you know that you must comply with any and all lawful orders. Telling me to do someone's job for them is not a lawful order. And I'm sorry, but I drive my and my family drive on the same roads, and I applaud DOT guys that are actually making their job, THEIR jobs, they actually take their job seriously and for everyone's safety. Well, pulling someone over when there's no reason to stop them, to shake them down for violations, it's not about your fucking safety. It's about their numbers. When they put these numbers to their on their paper, on their checklist and whatnot, on their inspection forms, it goes to their superiors, and it looks like they're doing their damn jobs. They're not doing their jobs because they are not stopping the trucks who actually have violations and putting them out of service when there's a reason to put them out of service. They're sitting behind a desk. They're pulling over trucks. A lot of times, the nicer looking trucks are the ones that get pulled over because they want to just go do a quick inspection, get their quote out of the way for the day, and then goof the fuck off the rest of the day. So if you think it's about safety, then you go ahead. But either way, your fucking safety does not trump my rights. My safety doesn't trump your rights. That's the difference. That's what people today don't understand. Your safety is not an excuse to withhold someone else's rights. And if that's a problem for you, then move your ass to another country. Because that's not the way this country was founded. That's not the way things are supposed to be in this country. And that's not the way I'm going to practice things in this country. And I had someone tell me that I don't respect my elders. They also told me I was fat and I need to shave my beard, pull my fucking pants up and all this other shit. Now, my pants don't sag down. I've just happened to have lost a lot of weight over the last year or so. And my pants were kind of baggy. I have to cinch them up with a belt and whatnot. So what you see in the video of this video is, the backside of my pants being all baggy. So fucking what? I don't let my pants sag down. But my appearance, number one, does not matter, okay? Any more than if a girl's dressed sexy, you could treat her like a hooker. The way I look does not matter about whether or not my rights apply, okay? So, fuck you if you don't like that. But but you're gonna sit there. That was Richard Milhouse Nixon. I don't really want to go to his. Is it there? Let me see. Is my other video there? Maybe it's. Why the fuck? I need to go ahead and link these all together. But either way, it's on this video, and see if I can find it, because he was being a real fucking dick. And anyway, he's basically telling me that, and Nick Rupp, yes, I did talk to OOIDA, and they were actually very helpful. I'm not a member of OOIDA, but they were helpful to me. They gave me some real resources and whatnot. I told them what happened. They told me that I was the first person they've ever known that's ever gotten arrested for this shit. And, and I'm not the first person they've ever known to do this. So, it's a very weird situation. But anyway, Richard Milhouse Nixon, I don't see him on here. I know he's here somewhere, but He's basically saying that I don't respect my elders, and that he's been driving 39 years and all this stuff. And it's like, I'm just like, dude, I respect my elders. I respect Thomas Jefferson. I respect Patrick Henry. I respect George Washington, John Adams, John Hancock. The list goes on. Benjamin Franklin. Yeah, I respect those people. I respect what they built and what they wanted for us. They wanted individual liberty and freedom without government intrusion. Unreasonable government intrusion. I'm not asking for anarchy out here. I'm asking to have my rights observed the way the founding fathers designed it. That's it. And sit there and make fun of the way I look and whatnot, but you know what? Benjamin Franklin was a freak. The guy was a weird-looking dude, and he was a degenerate by all accounts. Now, some people say that those were made up, possibly by himself to boost his own fame at the time, and it may be, but either way, the guy was a weirdo. Andrew Jackson was a weirdo. A lot of them were. So, sit there and talk shit about me, and I'm not comparing myself to those people. Those were great men. I am not a great man. I'm just one man trying to do the best for me. But don't sit there and talk shit about how I look. That's the same as the racial profiling that went on with the police, where they looked at black people and like, oh, you're wearing the ghetto uniform, we're gonna shake you down and fuck with you. And that stuff does still happen, but the society banded against that and said, no, we're not going to do that shit. Racial profiling's illegal. You're not going to do that shit. You're not going to sit there and look at somebody because their pants are sagging down and say, that's a fucking criminal. We're going to go make up shit and fucking violate his fucking rights just to put him in jail. That's not right. That's not the way it's supposed to work. And that's not the way it's supposed to work here in this trucking industry either. And if that's a problem for you, then maybe you should get the fuck out of trucking. 39 years in the trucking industry, you're still driving a fucking truck. You're probably a company driver too, because the guy's telling me I should get rid of my dog. Well, I ain't getting rid of my dog. Eat a dick. I don't care what you think. You're probably still a company driver. You're probably 4 million miles in or whatever, 5 million miles, and you got one of those patches from your company that tells you how great of an employee you are because you've been there for so damn long. But don't sit there and talk shit about me. You can criticize the way I handle this situation. You can criticize my actions. You can criticize how I think or whatever. But you sit there and criticize me and tell me how I'm fat and I look so bad because I got a beard or whatever. Dude, that's fucking ridiculous. Hell, I just watched a video the other day of a First Amendment audit or whatever. I don't remember what the hell it was, but the cops, every one of those cops in that fucking video had beards like mine. I mean, fuck you. It's the way it is. So that dude can kiss my ass. Some of you other guys can kiss my ass, but most of you, I really do appreciate you. You being cool with me. I really appreciate your support, and I'm hoping to have some new content soon. If I do talk to the FBI tomorrow, I will definitely try to get it on video, and I will let you know what happened. But I'm gonna sign off for now because I think it's almost a damn hour. So you guys take it easy.